to this edition of Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Alex Gaul, and alongside me is Spencer Hardenbergh. Spencer, it's great to have you back at the anchor desk.
Listen, it's great to be back, and I feel much like I think ASU football felt last weekend coming back for a big win against Cal. I hate to be the cliche guy, but if there's been anything consistent about this team, it's been their lack of consistency, and they did not disappoint after a tough loss to Colorado a few weeks ago against Cal and Berkeley.
You are absolutely right, Spencer. Let's pick this one up in the first quarter. Dayton Daniels rolling out right side, going deep down the sideline, 38 yards to Ricky Pearsall for the big completion. It was ASU's biggest gain of the game, and set up this play later in the drive. Eno Benjamin going through the middle from 11 yards out, breaking a number of tackles and getting into the end zone. But California would strike back later in the quarter. It's Chase Garbers to Trevin Clark for 16 yards and a touchdown that would put ASU and Cal level at 7-7. But Garbers would leave the game later, and now Devin Mobster in at quarterback for Cal, and this pass is intercepted by Ashari Crosswell right before the halftime break as ASU and Cal go in 7-7 at halftime. Now Cal up 14-7. Eno Benjamin barreling through the middle for the touchdown, his second of the evening. It's now 14-14. After three quarters, 17-14 now. ASU need the touchdown here, and they're going to get it. It's Eno Benjamin's third of the evening. It ties a career high for him, and its second 100-yard rushing game of the season for Benjamin as Arizona State beats California 24-17.
Now let's talk some more football, and for that, WCSN football reporter Jack Lauderay joins the show. Jack, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Spencer.
Now, as we just saw ASU with a big rebound victory over ranked Cal, what was the biggest takeaway for you from that game?
Well, I'd have to say the biggest takeaway for me is Eno Benjamin. Now, one of the biggest things that fans, let alone the coaches, have been a little bit worried about this year was Eno Benjamin and his efficiency. We saw at the beginning of the season he didn't have as great of a season as everyone wanted, but this game we saw he's back. You see there with the stats, 3 touchdowns, 100 yards, 3.4 yards a carry. He played like a warrior last week. He grinded out tough yards, and he showed. He's not gone. He's back, and he's ready to have another big season.
Eno Benjamin, a big breakout season last year, and he definitely seems to be getting it back. Now let's take it off the field. Let's talk coaching staff. Herm Edwards was named Coach of the Week in the NCAA for the second time this season. Why does he deserve these awards? What stood out about Herm to you so far this season?
Well, there's a few things Herm's done that I think have stood out all across the country. The first one is he shows a lot of passion. You see it in the press conferences. You see it on the sideline. He's one of the most passionate coaches in all of the NCAA. And another thing that he does really well is he's very smart. He has a great football IQ, obviously. He played college, played in the NFL, and coached in the NFL. He's got that great football IQ. And then the last thing that he does really well is he is a player's coach. He's obviously strict with them, as he should be, but he lets them have fun. He lets them, go out and play the game that they want to play while also holding them to a high standard.
He's a football guy, Jack, that's for sure. Now, let's look into the future. ASU has a bye week this week to get ready for another really tough test in Washington State. What does ASU have to improve on to prepare for next week?
Well, I think there's 2 areas of concern for Arizona State that they have to fix during this bye week. The first one is one that people have been talking about a lot this season. That is the offensive line. Obviously, they are very unexperienced with a few freshmen on the line. Jaden Daniels last week wasn't as pressured as he had been in the past, but still was pressured a little bit. To get ready for these very tough opponents in the Pac-12, the offensive line has to get better. And then the other thing I want to talk about is the defensive backs. We saw it last week. Chase Lucas, among others, were burnt on a few plays and gave up some touchdowns. That is the biggest area of concern I think they need to fix if they want to compete against these higher-ranked Pac-12 teams.
Great stuff, Jack. Thank you. Now that we've covered a few of the Pac-12 teams, let's really dive into it. Cameron Rubner has the State of the Conference on this week's Impact.
Thanks, guys. So far this season, it feels like the entire Pac-12 football conference has been plagued by the injury bug. Overall, 34 starting players in the Pac-12 either haven't played at all this season, didn't play last week, or are questionable to play this upcoming weekend. What makes this sting even worse for the Pac-12 are the injuries to big-time players like U of A's Khalil Tate, Utah's Zach Moss and Britton Covey, and USC quarterbacks Keaton Slovis and JT Daniels, who is out for the remainder of the season with a knee injury. If a chunk of this Pac-12's best players are sidelined, then the Conference of Champions reputation is in danger.
Thank you, Cameron. Now, sticking with the Pac-12, more big news. California Senate Bill 206 has officially been passed. Governor Gavin Newsom signed the bill last week that will allow college players to hire agents and receive endorsement deals starting in 2023. While this bill rocks the NCAA as a whole, it hits specifically close to the Pac-12, a conference with 4 big California schools. HBO's The Shop had Newsom and former UCLA gymnast Caitlin Ohashi on to discuss the bill.
What the hell are you doing destroying college sports? Why are you going to destroy women? And they all think this is the end of Title IX. They're saying you're destroying the purity of amateurism. Not once did they talk about the needs of these kids.
I mean, here's the fame, but then there's no compensation. It's so crazy. Like, people are like, oh, you must be so rich. And I'm like, you must not know the NCAA.
The only people that sign away their right, the only group that signs away their right, are athletes.
The Arizona State women's hockey team is 4-0 for the first time ever. That comes after a sparkling weekend in Colorado that saw Lindsay Ellis' squad outscore their opponents 21-2 in 4 games against Denver and Colorado State. It was a weekend of firsts for the Sun Devils. Their first opening night victory, a 5-1 blowout of Colorado State. ASU forward Danielle DuPont made her presence felt later on in the weekend with the first hat-trick of her ASU career, scoring 4 goals to help ASU to a 9-1 blowout over CSU, their largest margin of victory ever, and completing their first series sweep of the Rams. ASU is back in the Valley this weekend for a 2-game set with in-state rival Grand Canyon. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. tonight from the Arcadia Ice Arena. From one hockey team to the other, ASU men's hockey is set to begin their 2019 campaign this weekend. And while this year's team will look significantly different on the ice, it's a move in the coaching staff that has fans excited. Our own Mike McQuaid was at Oceanside Ice Arena and has more.
Past offseason, the ASU men's hockey team added a key component to their coaching staff, Coach Eddie Lack.
I feel like the main attraction was just like it's a really up-and-coming program. Everyone is just really excited about the program, and like that was the main reason. I mean, just having them explain it to me got me excited about it too. Right?
Coach Lack brings more than just knowledge to the table.
You know, he's just a lovable guy. You know, he's just going to add to our culture in every way. Certainly his knowledge and experience from a goaltending standpoint it's big for those 3 guys, but his overall impact on our program, because of the kind of guy that he is going to be huge. He's awesome to have around and everything.
Graduate transfer Max Prodzik has created a special bond with Coach Eddie Lack.
Our skates are fun, and he's loose, and he's energetic, but at the same time, he also expects you to work, and you're forced to work really hard, and that's awesome. That's exactly what you want. You want to have fun, and you want to work hard. It's a great balance.
Coach Lack looks to instill those values on and off the ice.
Trying to bring what I've done through my whole career. 2 things that I try to bring, like work ethic on the ice, but then we try to have a little bit of fun off the ice too. So,
with the season 1 week away and 3 goalies fighting for a starting position, Coach Lack is keeping the starting job a mystery.
I might, but I'm not going to share it.
Mike McQuaid, Cronkite Sports.
This men's hockey team has continued to rise and is starting out ranked for the first time in their brief history. With more on the beginning of their season, we send it over to WCSN men's hockey reporter Julian Paris.
Arizona State has been on the ice for a while now. They've gone to China, they've practiced for weeks, but now it's time for the real deal as they take on the Mercyhurst Lakers tomorrow night. Head coach Greg Powers added that he has made a decision on a successor to Joey DeCord, but that people will have to wait until Saturday to find out.
You decided what you're going to do with that this weekend?
I have.
What might that be?
You'll find out Saturday.
Powers also said that Mercyhurst could be a challenge considering their head coach Rick Gotkin, who sees ASU as a familiar opponent.
A younger team this year, but a ton of experience behind their bench. You know, and like I said, he's been there for 30+ years, so he's not going to see anything with us that he hasn't seen before.
But senior defenseman and captain Brinson Pashnik believes they're ready and that their chemistry is unmatched heading into Saturday.
There can be a couple, like, almost cliques with the older guys and the younger guys the first couple days just because everyone knows each other, but I think we've improved to that, and there's 0 cliques anymore after China. Like, that really just brought us all together.
Reporting for Cronkite Sports, Julian Potts.
All right, everyone, let's get those Twitter fingers ready. Chris Farendorf is here to bring us through the last week in social media. Chris, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. Social media debut for myself. Super stoked to be here.
Hey, you should be.
Really excited. Let's get it.
For my first tweet, I know you guys have been talking about ASU football just defeated Cal, the Golden Bears, this last weekend. So for my first tweet, I have a tweet from the Arizona State Sun Devils account. They tweeted, "Look what we found in Berkeley. Jaden Daniels on top of a bear." If there was one ASU football player who would actually be able to tame a bear, who would it be?
Well, are current players and alumni included in this?
Both. Any ASU football player.
Because the first person that comes to mind is N'Keal Harry, because that guy is jacked.
I'm going N'Keal Harry, too. I'm going to go Manny Wilkins. He was a leader. Maybe he could use some of that zen.
Well, he might just hurdle over the bear.
He would. He would just jump over it. I didn't really take that into consideration. I got to say, love the shout out to Brick, though. That is, that is good stuff.
If we're throwing in coaches, too, though, what about Herm Edwards?
He's got the gene.
He's just tapped in.
Eye of the tiger.
He's just crazy enough.
He's a little bit crazy, I'm not gonna lie. And so I'm not sure if you guys have realized, being on the downtown campus, being a sports journalism major, there are a lot of people from Chicago.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are.
Tempe Barstool, they tweeted, "If you ever want to meet people from Chicago, come to ASU." Alex, you're from Chicago.
Well, from the suburbs, as it says right there.
Excuse me.
Suburbs, there you go.
Why do you think so many people from Chicago come to ASU for college?
Well, there's two answers to that. The first one is the Chicago Cubs, and second is the weather, because as my dad told me, he went to college up in the Northeast, and I was looking at a couple schools up there, and he said, "Why would you go to the Northeast when you could come down to the Southwest?" It was a pretty easy decision. I think a lot of Chicagoans feel the same.
I'm from the Northeast. I'm from Boston, and I've had my fair share of school in the Northeast. So I think I'm with the Chicagoans.
You don't like those negative 40-degree wind chills?
No, not for me. Maybe for others. Not my thing. Not my thing.
Agreed 100%. I enjoy the weather down here. And for my last tweet, most college football teams have a mascot doing their push-ups, right? Their touchdown push-ups, excuse me. Well, Virginia Tech, they actually have a push-up robot.
Oh, man.
And then Sparky the Sun Devil quote tweeted and said, "There's only one push-up machine in college football, and it ain't this thing."
Well, that's innovation right there. I don't know where Virginia Tech is, but
they should be beating us in that ranking every year.
We've all been to an ASU game. We know Sparky's got some questionable push-ups from time to time. You guys are both pretty big boys. Alex, I'm gonna ask you guys to each do your own push-up, and then I'll tell you who's got the better form.
Somebody we take the jackets off.
Yeah, we gotta take the jackets off.
I guess it does. Oh, man. All right.
Alex, you can go first.
Alex,
when we got the setup.
All right, well, I gotta get this mic over here first. But Spencer, I had a feeling he was gonna ask something like this. So I actually brought his headbands.
Oh,
I don't know if we got them. Here we go.
Do I get
There's
blue?
a blue one for
All
you.
Right, thank you.
And then here's the other one for me. So I gotta put it on because we're gonna sweat a lot doing these push-ups.
Oh, probably. I know.
I gotta put this on.
That's for sure.
All right, here we go.
It's all about the form.
Nice.
Right. Alex is up first. Nice. Okay, wide stance. I like it. Ooh, going for three.
Yeah,
nice.
3. I can't do the clap one though. I don't know if Spencer can, but
let me get one in first. Hold on. All right. Let me get my bearings here. One.
Chest to the ground. I like it. Ooh.
Oh, he's got 2.
Nice.
Oh, he's got 3.
I kind of want to try 2 clap. Ready?
Oh, wow.
Don't break your nose there, Spencer.
I almost had it.
You up there.
I almost had it.
That was pretty good, but
it was close. It was close.
I'll show.
It was really just the grip. I totally had it if my hand
I'll show you guys how the expert does it now.
Oh boy. Okay.
Man.
All right. Let's see it.
Let's get this camera on me.
Oh, there he is.
Man.
All right.
Oh yeah, baby.
All right,
I'll take a 5.
Could you get a 2 clap though? Because he got the 2 clap.
I thought I was.
We'll save that for another episode.
We'll save that for another time.
That's all I got for today's social media. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for being here. So sometimes you do something right and it still ends up wrong. ASU Women's Soccer found out about this firsthand in their loss in heartbreaking fashion to USC. We're going to get in some more push-ups here in the Cronkite Sports Live Fitness Center, and Allie Kruzniak's going to tell you how it all went down.
After 2 consecutive draws against CSUN and Utah last week, Sun Devil Soccer was looking to gain some offensive momentum as they faced their toughest challenge of the season, number 4 ranked USC. The Trojans started off on top, dominating play and maintaining possession for most of the first half. They got an early lead after an own goal off of a corner kick in the 6th minute of play, but had few scoring chances after. Though ASU left the field for halftime down a goal, they didn't seem depleted, something Captain Kylie Minifield noticed quickly.
A lot of us didn't even realize that we didn't sub. Compared to our game against Utah, when a lot of us were really tired and our fatigue showed, I don't think it showed as much this game.
The Sun Devils picked up the pace in the second half, finally being able to connect passes and make challenges. In the 61st minute, Marlene Schimmer found space and made a fantastic goal, beating USC keeper Anna Smith, who hadn't faced a shot in the game till then.
So actually the game plan was that I'm going deep all the time. So I have the ball in my feet so I can shoot and just trying my best to get shots off.
It was an unfortunate ending to the match, as USC was awarded a corner kick in the 89th minute of play, and Kaylin Martin was able to find the back of the net. The Sun Devils didn't even have time to hang their heads and push through the last remaining seconds. Alexia Delgado was fouled in the box and Nicole Douglas stepped up to take the penalty kick, but Anna Smith read the shot the entire time and made the game-winning save. Though the result clearly wasn't ideal, head coach Graham Winkworth was not discouraged.
And we defended so well for 90 minutes, and so I thought we were fantastic throughout, top to bottom, and then that last minute, that was crazy.
The Sun Devils end their 4-game homestand on Sunday afternoon as they host the UCLA Bruins at Sun Devil Stadium. In Tempe, I'm Allie Krusniak, Cronkite Sports.
Pac-12 track and field student athletes and alumni are representing the conference on the other side of the world. That's because the 2019 IAAF World Championships are underway in Doha, Qatar. USC senior Angie Anelis narrowly missed the podium with a 4th-place finish in the 200 meters. That finish comes just 4 months after Anelis won the NCAA championship in the same event. In the men's 110-meter hurdles, Phoenix native and University of Oregon alum Devin Allen breezed through qualifying rounds and finished 7th in the final. Emma Coburn, who spent her college days at the University of Colorado, ran a personal best and won the silver medal in the 3,000-meter steeplechase. With so much talent coming from the schools in the conference, the track is a great place to keep tabs on heading into 2020 and the Tokyo Olympics. You can keep up with all the events in Doha at www.iaaf.org.
All right, let's talk some volleyball. For that, we welcome in Cameron Miner, WCSN volleyball analyst. Cameron, great having you here today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So ASU hasn't had the most consistent season. They played great against U of A, not so great against UCLA.
Correct.
What was the problem in the game against U of A, and what did they do right against UC, or vice versa?
Well, you see, Spencer, against you, the biggest question about ASU has always been how consistent can they be? You see, last season they were very inconsistent, and that led to a lack of trust between the fan base. So I think this season they really need to prove that they can be consistent. You see, they at home, first conference game in the Pac-12, they actually knocked off U of A. They swept them 3-0. That was a big statement game for them. But then fans didn't really trust it as they traveled to UCLA. I think they were lacking efficiency, and that actually led them to being swept against UCLA.
And now moving on from those games, let's go to Friday night. They're going to be facing Colorado.
Right.
These are two pretty evenly matched teams. How do you see that matchup playing out?
I see a lot of Colorado in ASU and vice versa. You see, Colorado's actually coming off of a 2-game loss streak, and ASU is 1-1 right now. As you look at the stat comparisons, a lot of them are the same. They have a .239 attack percentage, and ASU is a .212. Their kill sets are almost even, and their assist set ratio is actually even at 10.9. Now, I think that ASU fans are just going to have to come out and see what happens at this game tonight. But I have to say, I think ASU might actually pull it off because when they're at home, I think they play better. Because when they win against U of A, they pulled it off.
Home court advantage, definitely a very real thing. Cameron Miner, ladies and gentlemen, you can keep up with all of his content on cronkitesports.com.
Sticking with teams that call Wells Fargo Arena home, Sun Devil Hoops had its first media availability of the season this week, where Bobby Hurley and Remy Martin addressed what they think of this year's squad.
I just think we have, we're interchangeable. We have a lot of different ways that we could go, and that's the one thing that I'm noticing that I like. I feel like at times, with the addition of Jalen House and Lonzo Verge, that we could be a lot like the team 2 years ago if I go that direction. There may not be a team that I've had that I'm more confident about, putting points on the board if you kind of go right down the line.
I feel great. I mean, what's in the past in the past. We had a tremendous run. I miss some of the guys that's left, but it's a new path now. It's a big year. I know it sounds crazy because every year is like a big year, but I'm an upperclassman now. It's my last 2 years here, so it's starting to get real.
Hurley and Martin will lead the Sun Devils to Shanghai, China for the team's first game of the season, November 8th. And Spencer, now it's time for The Way It Is. You know how it works. It's our favorite segment. We ask each other questions back and forth, and the winner gets to rant. So Spencer, ASU Hockey starts the season ranked at number 20. Where will they be ranked at the end of the season?
So I'm going to put him at top 15. It's tough because when a team comes into a season with a lot of expectations, I feel like they usually fault, but I think this team has it. I'm going to put him at top 15 by the end of the season. Yeah,
this team's losing a lot of people. They lose Joey DeCord, obviously, to the NHL, the first Sun Devil to sign in the NHL, but they're getting a lot of people into this squad as well. People think of Logan Genuine. I think of him first of all. He's going to have a great season this year. I think they're going to make the top 15, maybe even the top 10.
Certainly some new talent could carry him. Now it's an 0-1-1 start for Graham Winkworth's side. They won 5 games in the Pac-12 last year. Over under, Alex. What do you think? 5 games.
I mean, they definitely have a slow start going for them, the 0-1-1, but they have a lot of technical quality in their front six, just a ton of quality up there. I think they have enough. I still think I'm going to be the optimist here. I think they're going to get over 5. I think they get that 6th win. They make the NCAA tournament.
How about I be the yin to your yang here? I'm going to be a pessimist. I got them going under 5. I just don't see it with this team this year. I think last year was a bit of an anomaly for them. I'm going to go under 5.
All right, and ASU football has 2 big games the next 2 weeks with Wazoo before traveling to Utah the week after. Spencer, what will their record be in the next 2 weeks?
See, I want to say 0-2. I'll give them 1-1 though. I do think that they'll win versus Utah, but we see a pattern here. Like this keeps happening. They win, big loss, big win, big loss. I think they lose to Washington State and then beat Utah.
Yeah, it seems to be a pattern with ASU teams beating the teams that they shouldn't and also losing to the teams they shouldn't.
Exactly.
I think it's going to happen the same way, Spencer. 1-1 for ASU.
Well, I hope that you're inconsistent because I know last time you beat me in The Way It Is. So
did I?
Yes, you did. Last time. I will never forget.
You're a hard guy to beat,
Still wakes me up at night, but I'm really hoping I take this one. All right.
Got your wish, Spencer.
Cash is king, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk money. As we've said, California passed a bill where college athletes will now have the ability to not only get paid for their likeness, but also get an agent to help them make some extra cash. Ohio Rep. Anthony Gonzalez is now planning to propose a national bill giving college athletes a chance to make endorsement money. I love hearing some of the takes on this. Oh, how awful. A famous 18-year-old can actually profit off their lifetime of hard work. The life of a college athlete is not only incredibly demanding, people, it's dangerous. Every day, these kids are putting their bodies and lives on the line just to entertain us in hopes to one day get a pro paycheck. Regardless of how you feel about this topic, hold on tight because the NCAA is about to get shaken up by this new movement. But if you really have a problem with the kids selling a signed jersey, I'll be sure to tell your boss that you want to suit up and work for no profit during your 9 to 5. And that's the way it is.
And we'll move right into top plays now, Spencer. We got our first one coming from the ASU versus Cal game, end of the second quarter. And Cal driving near the red zone, going deep to the back corner of the end zone. Ashari Crosswell comes down with it, makes the fabulous interception. And ASU's 24-17 victory over California.
Even had the wherewithal to take a knee there. Good stuff. Now let's go to the other side of the ball. Eno Benjamin, the Texan hammer, to the outside, into the end zone, barrels over another guy, just because why not? I'm Eno Benjamin. I can do what I want. Touchdown ASU. He was an animal this game. Let's watch it again. And as you said, Alex, definitely his best performance of the season at just the right time.
Has to be. Now we're going to go from one football to the other kind of football. Marlene Schimmer, the pride of Mainz, Germany, going for the goal! Sun Devils! And it's a 5th goal of the season for Marlene Schimmer. It's an absolute screamer from outside the box. And that's good enough for our number 1 play of the game. ASU did lose in that game 2-1, though, to USC.
Alex, I gotta say, I don't know what was better, the top play or that goal call. I might give it to you. But everyone watching, thank you guys very much. For Alex Gaul and the entire Cronkite Sports team, I'm Spencer Hardenbergh. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you next time.